with picking the Lycan, of course, they're going to need more stuns. All they have is Lasso right now. They're getting nothing from their 5 and their 3, so you kind of have to cover some bases here if you're DogChamp, but they will go for the Rubik. So again, he is the ranged hero. He is a premier ranged hero, and I do like Yara and Rubik, but again, now you're very single target. It's where I think the scope of these team fights now can just be increased. If NoRunes want to make those big, messy fights happen, they just simply have more to play with. And not to mention, you have 2 stuns on DogChamp's side, and Abaddon's got 1 shield, so now you've got 1 stun, effectively. So, I don't know. I'm a little bit scared here, because this is not as easy to play as you might think. And there's your punish. Well, there's the guy that is going to need a stun. Even though, goes against what we said, they did pick a melee hero into Batrider, which, again, Guts cannot afford to drop the ball anymore here, but I guess worst case scenario, he asks Surem to TP mid, give him a Nephotic shield or 2, fix his lane versus the Napalm, but that's the punish for not having the stuns.
Not a lot of means of actually locking him down. However, if RCY on this bat just completely runs over Guts again, you won't have to care about that, but I highly doubt that that happens again. Even in the Bat versus Ember matchup, I think Guts might just sacrifice farm as opposed to giving up the kills that he did last time, because lack of farm on the Ember Spirit, you can recover from that. If you go, 1 in 7 again or whatever it was, then you're going to be out for a hell of a long time. So we'll see if they don't get more defensive play from Guts. For the time being, though, their focus is going to be on that carry position, because the Lycan is interesting, but the Lycan at this point does not even remotely feel like a Stonebank hero. So the stage, really, what else are they afraid of? Do they concern themselves with a carry that has some more lockdown to add to what DogChamp are kind of lacking, or is it just all damage?
Honestly, the hero that's kind of evading NoRunes right now, and we'll have to see, I feel like the cool pick would be to just go for the Alchemist. And of course, you're down the pick, so you still have to worry about those big counters that could happen here from Mini, but that's where if you do just need a blink stun, and you kind of need a blink stun, he's kind of the premier hero at that. And of course, the question mark is going to be whether or not that Primal Beast lane is going to be annoying, and Primal Beast Piranha also sounds pretty fearsome. It's where if they want to look at the lane more so than the game, they could also very easily just pick up Juggernaut, not to mention Jug plus Lycan. You heal up his summons, you end up in that almost endless push situation that we typically see a lot of Jugs fall into, but that's where DogChamp do have options. They really didn't get banned out all too much. It's where NoRunes, in going for so many supports in that second phase, really freed up a lot of heroes for Stonebank to actually want to play here. So it is just a matter of what do you actually want to play. I still think they need a slight initiator coming in from him, just because we've seen what Lycan can do, but we've also seen what he can't do once these big team fights do break out. And it's where I think NoRunes do kind of beat you. You've got great pickoff, you've got pretty nice lanes, but when it comes to those big fights, you just don't have that much, and they go for the Slark. Okay, sure. And I was actually a pick I was thinking that NoRunes might have gone for in the same position as the Ember Spirit, and then maybe kicked Guts' hero down the road, just because then you get Slark versus Batrider. You can actually make that your mid laner if you want to, and then look for Mini's hero, but instead the Slark gets sniped away from him.
Well, does leave DogChamp with a lineup that's maybe not the sturdiest in the world, but they've got mobility, and they can certainly do a fair bit of damage. So see how that works out for them. In the meantime, if you're NoRunes, well, what's the call here? Looking for that mini hero, something to really bring this lineup together and try to maybe punish the fact that DogChamp are kind of light on lockdown. And as you said, the lockdown that they do have is very single target.
Yeah, and I'm racking my brain here because really there aren't that many heroes that you want to play versus Slark. At the same time, you also want to try and shut down and punish the Lycan, as Lycan is not a strong laner. He doesn't feel that great. I feel like that's where heroes like Ursa, you think about the Lycan, but then you think about the Slark. It's where you go in 2 different directions with what you actually want to play. You also would like a hero that naturally builds up a Hurricane Pike, just because, well, you have an answer versus the Slark. You have something to run away from. I feel like in that regard, the most solid hero is probably just Luna, but that's where we'll have to see. And Bloodseeker instead.
Okay.
Sure. Okay. Kind of evaded, I guess, some of these last few bans here, but that's your 1-to-1 counter. Of course, not a stun, not any disable. It's something that you got to be careful of, but versus Lycan and Slark, yeah, sure. Of course, Problem being, you can only rupture one, right? Until you're 25, you have to make those difficult choices in those early team fights, but someone is now going to be locked out of those team fights that I think are going to be so important for NoRunes. So I like the pick, but just want to see if this hero gets overloaded, because that is certainly going to be a threat.
Hmm. It's a very powerful tool, but you have to use it in the right circumstances, so well, at least NoRunes have that at their disposal, right? The execution is going to be the question mark for them, but at least they have the means. So that puts them in a better position than I think they were in some of their previous matches today, but they really do need something to go their way. They need some sort of fortunate break, because as we mentioned before, they have lost all 3 of their games so far today, and after today they only have the 1 series left to play, so opportunities are running thin.
Oh yeah, they're running out, and they really don't want to get too out. At least with a 1-1 split, they can still kind of bank on maybe getting the leg up on Wolf Team. But without that, we are getting into those grim circumstances for them. But, you know, hopefully this game looks a little bit closer. RCY maybe doesn't get 3 kills in the lane by himself. You know, who knows? We'll have to see. But that's also where they got to be a little bit careful, because, again, Beast versus Slark, we saw it play out last night, and now this is a Beast versus Slark that's a little bit more isolated. Last time around, there was the techies to throw himself into the midst as well, just more AoE ground damage that ended up making that lane almost unbearable for Slark. It's where maybe the Undying and the Mirana trading each other's lives out could turn it more into a 1v1 situation, which of course Slark will adore, but still have to be very careful with the magic damage that that lane brings, as well as I don't think Stonebank literally laning that type of situation just yet here, so might be unproven ground for both sides.
Well,
my keyboard is not working.
underway, spamming out the voice lines at the start, as is tradition, but we'll see if there's any fighting here. Look at Srem. Huh. That was kind of funny. It didn't look like he had moved there, and suddenly the tower started hitting him, but I guess he inched forward just a little bit, but he was checking for the wards, and let's see if he's happy with the results. As well, there's a wolf just kind of wandering around. Time's out before anyone can kill it, but I don't know, ET. It looks like they're still kind of grouped up, like they're willing to fight, but nobody is gonna push out just yet. Still 20 seconds for those runes.
And here we go, Heiko. He's got his uproar charges.
Oh boy.
He's ready for the fight, but
I think
you
the
know,
timing might be kind of off here.
and here we go. Gonna pop it. He's gonna run forward, and then he's gonna realize that, yeah, does have a DD rune pretty much here, but they also just decided to walk away. So NoRunes actually make it away with 4. So, oh, I guess maybe not. They didn't cut in. I thought they were gonna go up into the high ground and then look for Stonebank and B9's runes. So 3 for 1, still an advantage, but not the shutout I was hoping for.
Very rare nowadays to actually see the full sweep of 4. It's just the positioning change a couple patches back really just kind of takes that play away. But hey, 3 out of 4 is still an advantage. Heiko is going to heal up the damage that he intentionally took there, and we are going to get a bit of a pause out here as the lanes were just about to start, so that's not fantastic, but it's looking like a short pause. Okay. Apparently no issues, and we'll get back into it. So, well, ET looking at the top lane first. We know B9 is going to just sort of be the Undying, but if you're Stonebank, how much do you try to play up here? He's got the point in the Essence Shift, so even if he gets 1 or 2 sort of smacks in there, he's going to start stealing some of that away.
Yeah, but it's still just a little bit too much to make those plays happen, I think, as well as the more you hit the Primal Beast, of course, you get the Uproar stacks. It's where the Undying will 100% give you a stack every single time he punches you, so will be pretty easy for him. I think maybe once Stonebank hits level 3 and he can just hold on to the Essence Shift stacks a little bit more, we see him trade, but level 1 Essence Shift, it's really just for punishing in the current creep wave. It's not something that you can play in between the waves. There's just not enough time, so probably not worth trading your life away at this stage. As well as, well, Heiko's level 2. Gotta be careful now, because Grandpa will surprise you, and if he can block off your pounce, then you're gonna eat so much damage.
Stonebank doesn't have pounce yet because he's not quite 2, so Heiko is going to give this a go. getting most of his damage onto B9, who unfortunately is not really the target because he just gets the extra strength. Jesus, he's got so many mangoes, but mangoes don't give you any health, and, well, not immediate health, I suppose, as Hane comes in for the kill. Arrow connects at point blank, and there's your first blood.
And it was gonna be up here, right? It's just inevitable in the Primal Beast situation. Either you're overextending and getting punished and dying, or you're just getting away with it. And Hanes spends his time wisely, getting the large camp unblocked. But mid lane, everybody's low. I think there is a bottle and a water rune and a full stick to heal everybody up, but no early kills. This is much better for Guts.
Yeah, just, you know, you don't have to do anything fancy in this lane. Just don't get your ass handed to you like he did in game 1, and you're going to be just fine. In the meantime, well, Yarn's trying to sort of snag a creep wave here. Sarem, though, he can be obnoxious. Has the point up in the curse, so he just starts sort of hacking away. The damage is really minimal, but just trying to make life a little bit harder, act as that buffer on the front line while Mini just farms up as best as he can, and now actually going to throw out the Blood Right. It should hit onto Yarn, but they can't go much further than that. But hey, if you're hitting Blood Rights, that is still going to be some nice extra damage.
Yeah, and it's just trying to annoy Yarn, I think, a little bit more. Italiana Gangster has his Helm of Iron Will coming out, so he is going to be really difficult to push out of these lanes, but it's also where the biggest benefit of the Rubik is you can just Fade Bolt for every single ranged creep, so you don't have to be too worried about falling behind in XP. Very similar role that the Mirana also plays.
Haven't seen that taunt yet in an actual game. That's interesting one. A bit louder than some of the other taunts, but whatever. Not too loud. B9, though. Gotta be careful. Arrow flies. Doesn't hit. But Heiko's still getting the maximum damage out of Trample that he possibly can, and doesn't really have to care about the tower shots either. And Stonebank, you gotta start maybe falling back a little bit, because he was playing on very low health, and, well, Arrow's only up in 1 or 2 more seconds. Trample 5 seconds away, so if they really wanted to try this, well, Hane wanted to try, but kind of misses with the arrow stun.
No, and a nice pounce away, but that's where this is their moment to get a very aggressive. You're about to be level 4 on the Primal Beast. You're about to have that onslaught, and there is still a lot of levels that Bloody Nine is just kind of forced into taking at this point. This is where Stonebank is already kind of thinking and gunning about whether or not he can get his 6, but it's just sadly not there, and B9 has to be attached here. He has to have at least something to threaten, and if he can get the Tombstone down, that should slow up Heiko enough to at least peel him away from Stonebank, but still just means that Shadow Dance is going to come out even slower.
Yeah, a little bit of a struggle in the early stages. Meanwhile, Yarn did make his way over to mid. Got scanned out, though, so Guts should know that this is here, and how close is RCY to 6? Not really that close. At the same time, though, Stonebank does actually get taken down in the top lane. Heiko just dives the tower forward, and in the middle lane, Guts is getting jumped in on. They will be able to find him. Well, it's not easy, but they do manage to get it, and Yarn's telekinesis is enough to sort of form the lockdown.
No, it was a pretty nice play. Hal came out as well from Italiano, so just very nicely timed, but sadly, back top Stonebank just missed the pounce onto the Mirana, so wasn't able to trade for her. She gets the leap away, and then you die to Primal Beast because Primal Beast just still is a ridiculous hero who will punish you for any and every mistake you make. But still, it's a nice kill, and getting the Batrider off to another good start. Not the best start that he had in game 1, but still getting a little bit of a lead versus the Ember Spirit, as he should.
Hane returns to the lane, delivers the phase boots out to Heiko, so Primal Beast is able to pick up that. Meanwhile, in the river, Sarem is trying to track onto a couple heroes here. Not really sure he can do anything, but just making sure that he has eyes on it. In the meantime, Yarn was the one who had to pick up that haste rune, so he is zooming around. But up in the top lane, Heiko actually strikes again, this time onto B9, and oh, it's just a little bit too easy there. B9, does he even have boots? No, he doesn't, so he's just never getting away from the trample.
No, he's just a little bit slowing up. There you go. Trample,
Onslaught,
onslaught. Doesn't turn it, though, so might be able to walk about a little bit easier, but Mirana's got pounces. Man, Hane just still feels confident to hit this, but might be the punish. Has a soul rip as well to probably give to Stonebank now, but still. Just a fine line this top lane is.
Yeah, they are just getting so close to, you know, getting too far caught or getting overextended here from Stonebank as well, as Taiko, this time he doesn't really have any mana, so I don't think there's too much of a threat, but he's got a Soul Ring queued up. Should be out to him soon, and, well, he's got enough mana for this. Trample comes through. Arrow won't connect, though, and B9, I think he might just die anyway. Taiko can't actually take him down just yet. TPN from Yarn is going to actually keep that chase really connecting, but look at Guts. He wants in. He sees a low health target. He is losing a lot of his health, though, but okay. He's got the Remnant. Quick jump back to the middle lane. In and out play from your Ember, and Taiko just TPs away. So you do lose the Mirana, but you're able to make it a trade-off.
Oh yeah, be able to turn. Taiko TPs back to the tower, so not too much is lost in the lanes here. And Stonebank is actually just straight up going for a Midas. Okay. You could see it. Perhaps feeling like he's going to start falling behind a little bit, but that's also where looking across the map during our pause here, and Mini is rocking it right now. You're only getting about half of a creep wave every 2 waves if you're Italiano Gangster. He is really starting to fall behind. Mini's just keeping his lane static, just tanking underneath the tower if his creep wave does get cut, but if it doesn't, then he just denies everything. And that is where pretty much our entire net worth advantage for NoRunes is. It is just the difference between the Bloodseeker and the Lycan.
It's looking okay for him so far. In the meantime, hopefully this pause solves fairly quickly. It didn't look like it was a DC issue or anything like that. Just team paused and asked for a little bit of time. So see if we can get back into it fairly quickly at this point. But I don't know. ET talked about the Midas for Stonebank. Maybe just a rotation into the jungle here as well in the near future. But if the Slark steps out of lane, if he goes to the jungle and he tries to farm, if you're Heiko, do you stay in this lane? Do you sort of dead lane it and just farm it up? Or do we think Heiko maybe makes a rotation and tries to make plays elsewhere?
Yeah, and that's something that Heiko himself hasn't even figured out, I think, all too much on the Primal Beast just yet, because if the opportunity arises, he will just TP. He will just kill, especially Italiano Gangster. It's such a simple play for you to just rupture the Lycan, TP in the Primal Beast, onslaught him from the tower, and then all Italiano Gangster can really do is pretty much just shapeshift and hope that that onslaught doesn't connect. But that's where if you do see the Primal Beast rotate out, then that alleviates any pressure onto the Slark, which he probably can just keep this up, because even if, of course, you do get the Shadow Dance off, you know, you're still getting stepped on. You're still going to eat that damage. You're still probably going to die as well if you do eat a full trample. So I imagine Heiko is only really going to stay up here as long as he can force Stonebank to kind of look at him in the face. That's also where I think Stonebank rotating out could just force the Primal Beast to chase him. But I think the only way that Heiko actually gets this tower is if he has that 10-minute cart, which is only a few minutes away. But until then, 3 heroes mid. Okay.
But will they do anything? That's the question. Hane.
Want the arrow.
Does the creep wave step? Yeah.
And now Surem.
RCY has lasso. Surem is nowhere close to his ult, so yeah, they're going to go for it. There's the damage. The root does come in, though, so they don't get the full pullback, but it still doesn't matter. Surem will die. RCY trying to dance. Can he get away? Yes, he can. Guts is now the one standing in the fire. I think he's going to live for now as he looks to TP away. No, he's TPing onto the tier 1. He's trying to track onto RCY. Mini coming in now as well with the speed boost. They are going to track him down. That's a very hefty commitment, though, into this middle lane, and Guts would love another kill to make it a little bit more valuable. I think they get B9 here. Soul Rip, Wand, keeping him up, but Stonebank. Stonebank just got ruptured. This is a little bit awkward. Surem's now going to come in to shield up Mini, and does the Slark actually make it out of here? If he pounces, he might just die to the rupture. Yeah.
Ooh. No, it's very tight. If he was able to fog after the Shadow Dance there, the problem is once you get thirsted, you can't heal anymore in Slark. So he would have just died if he let that happen to him, but caught in between 2 really bad decisions. Kind of a rock and a hard place. And yeah, well, there you go. Pretty nice rotation from Mini. You get 2 kills. Do give a lot of lane time over to Italiano Gangster, but let's say that with the Helm of the Dominator, the Bloodseeker didn't want to be there anyway. But still, there are trades across the map, and Honest, okay, assassinates the Centaur, but now we are going to see those tier 1s break down.
The objectives are going to come along for DogChamp, so this is their way of trying to maybe counteract the goal that they just gave up for those sort of multiple losses mid, but well, this isn't quite as fast as DogChamp may have been hoping for, so the tier 1 won't go their way just yet. At the same time, Mini is rapidly whittling away at that tier 1 top. Yaren's the only one here to defend this, but here comes the onslaught. Or not. He actually cancels it. I think they might have spotted that TP, so they will hit up RCY with the Rupture. The problem is he still has Lasso, doesn't have to go that far back to get the damage he wanted.
Oh.
And Heiko, does he live? He's getting shielded up, and now look at Guts coming in on the backline. They're going to lock down RCY with the root. They're going to finish him off. Yaren's TP, it will complete, but they got the core kill. The only problem is that did still cost them their Bloodseeker.
Yeah, and I think just more so a good rotation in from Guts, making kind of the best out of what became a pretty bad situation. Even Heiko getting extremely low, but that's just kind of the cost of doing business at this point. But again, something that I am worried about is just not having anybody playing versus the Lycan. It's where if even the Slark is having a bad time, if even the Bat Rider is even having a bad time, Lycan can just become your pseudo carry if he needs to. And a lot of time has been given to Italiano to kind of fix his laning situation that was not looking great, but will be able to kind of move through and manage it. Still, pretty far ahead and in a nice position if you're NoRunes, but I'm just worried what this Lycan could possibly do to you.
Still a threat that they need to acknowledge. Speaking of potential threats, that is Sacred Arrow taken by Yaren, so got a little bit of extra lockdown and damage, and depending on the scenario, he could set himself up with the telekinesis initiation, so if you're NoRunes, you do have to be a little bit more aware of what Yaren can do to you. In the meantime, though, they're grouping up, trying to push onto this tier 1 tower. Stonebank, though, is already in position to try and defend it, but I don't know. 3v1, I don't think they know Yaren's here. That is a shapeshift, though, on the back line. Italiano, I don't know if Hannes is one you want to try. Yeah, try for, because he just does that. Able to get himself away, but once he's out of leap charges, Italiano can keep on chasing. Or maybe now he goes on to Serem, but Serem's got his ult, so he's going to pop that too, and yeah, this is part of the reason why Italiano probably didn't want to activate his ult there, as Guts able to get a root onto RCY. Not much more than that, as an arrow will go in. It hits onto Guts, but who's in a position to follow that up? RCY had the lasso, but you don't want to go that far in. But look at the way that they're sort of just bobbing and weaving, trying to see if they can bait, but there's going to be the Rupture. RCY gets hit up, has to fall back, taking a lot of damage, though. Soul Rip onto him was not enough to keep him really all that safe, and he's just going to die. Guts gets the kill with the Sleight of Fist. B9 now in trouble as they're going to hit him up with the Pulverize. Guts cleans up that kill, too, and now they're looking for even more, pushing his way forward. Root onto the Lycan. They get the arrow to follow it. But Guts doesn't have the damage to really do this by himself. He does still need some backup, and backup doesn't really want to push that far in because they have no HP, and Yaren with the maxed out Fade Bolt does manage to sneak a kill there in onto Hane, and that kill saves the tier 1 tower.
No, and okay,
Oh, boy.
back in, yeah. Guts just decides to close the distance. He's got lift, though, and yeah, he throws him away, and Yaren gets another kill, and then he steals Flame Guard, so Guts has to do this with the right clicks. Okay, and it should still go through, but I mean, Yaren doing everything for his team, and now I don't think the Ember can really comfortably stick around for this tower. Probably going to feel a little bit better with the support of his Mirana behind him, but then bottom lane, they get Mini. Yeah. Wow.
RCY, not quite as fast as last game, but you take a look, he's still got those boots of travel up at a solid time, so he's able to make those plays. Speaking of plays, though, B9, he is very much dead here. I don't think they can take his tombstone, though. On a kind of thinking about it, but there's really not a lot he can do. As Yaren steals the arrow again, hits it onto the Mirana. Does he have enough damage by himself? I'm not sure. Well, okay. The zombies definitely help out. Now Guts, he's into the fight too, but he's got to be kind of careful because RCY is going with the Firefly, but Guts keeps pushing forward. With Italiano Gangster coming into the fight, though, it might be time for him to get away because his backup is getting chased to the ends of the earth. Surem does not have his ult any longer. Italiano, boy, he doesn't do this quickly. He may not do it at all, because here comes Heiko in with the onslaught. Surem's going to walk away. Now Italiano Gangster without the shapeshift is just kind of caught in no man's land. They're going to catch him out. Pulverize is in.
Yeah.
And that's a huge punish. And if you're Italiano, you just can't do that. If you can't find the kill before the shapeshift is going to wear off, you just have to back.
Yeah, just got a little bit too greedy. Also, just didn't have the best creep. You know, the pine cone might be good in lane, but outside, it ain't no centaur. It ain't even Hellbear Smasher. I think either of them probably feel like you probably get that kill a little bit easier. But yeah, got a little bit unlucky as well. I feel like he might get that kill if it's at nighttime, just making the howl a little bit easier to land. But, you know, what can you do? But still, they maintain control, and they keep on to their mid tower, which is very nice. It's just another objective that they get to play around in this downtime. And it's something that has been very obnoxious for NoRunes to deal with, is just the constant wave clear that Rubik can provide. It's the entire reason why that mid tower is still standing.
Well, little bit of a reset here after some kind of frantic plays over the last couple of minutes, but it resets in a scenario where NoRunes have a pretty solid advantage here at 4K, so if anyone's going to sort of maybe try and make the next move, NoRunes are in a solid position to do so, but I don't know. On the other side, this bat, he's got Lasso up, and I'm sure there's no shapeshift right now to follow it up, but if he really does want to try and do something, he does have the means to pick off anybody.
No, he does, and also seeing the Batrider go for a big stack, and ooh, doesn't have really that much mana, so he should probably just use this next round to go back to base, but Ancient stack gets farmed. We're still en route for a very early BKB from RCY, so something to maybe think about, but with him taking that stack, mid-tier 1 does just end up being a little bit too difficult to defend, as well as Yaren going to find his own farm in the top lane. Just kind of put himself out of a job, but a zombie, B9, he's here. He's on Surem, but...
Arrow. It's going to come in and stun up B9. He did heal himself up first, but it's not going to be enough. Guts comes in with the Sleight of Fist to finish the kill, and with the Aphotic Shield on him, he wants a fight. He's going to get the root down onto the Lycan. He is in the shapeshift form, though, so once the root wears off, he walks away. Yaren comes in with the Telekinesis, though, along with his Fade Bolt. It's a decent bit of damage, but it's not really enough to actually dissuade NoRunes from going. If they want this, might have an opening. Okay. Hane was just looking for the arrow onto the creep. Instead, he hits the wolf. That should be the end of it.
No, he does start to walk away, but that's also where the core is, and really the farming course for NoRunes. Mini almost has a Radiance, and that is a little bit different. He's also looking for RCY, and well, there's the Rupture. He doesn't have TP. He went to the top lane, so he's just going to kill himself. He kind of has to at this point. And Guts gets another kill on the other side onto Yarn, and even more underneath the tower and Stonebank. Well, he's going to attempt for this kill, but does he get it? Nope. He's out.
Italiano is in, but he doesn't have shapeshift either, so there's really just nothing to do here, and oh man, the tide's turning rapidly, and here comes Heiko in for the fight. Arrow takes the creep out, and now this Lycan really has nothing to fight with. The Pulverize is even going to make sure he doesn't get away, so Guts comes in with the Sleight of Fist, and boy, they are really making ET just a concerted effort here. After Guts really suffered in the first game, they are enabling him to the absolute maximum capabilities that they have. He's 13-1. He may go down here, though. Can he dance his way around Stonebank? Ooh. Oh. Yes, he can. Gets some help, obviously, from the Abba, but they just can't lock him down.
Oh, thank you, Surem. And yeah, that really is the difference this game, is he just has supports literally in his lane. He has teammates to play around. He's got very effective heroes at well at just causing things to happen, and things have definitely been happening. And of course, now that he has this Blink Dagger, only way he really dies is if he either gets Blink Lassoed or if he gets lifted, and, well, putting himself in the danger zone just a bit. Yeah, okay. Oh, 900 gold for Stonebank. Well, that's another Ags component, and that was probably when Stonebank would have looked to make his next teamfight appearance, but, well, that's going to make that feel a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's just getting ever so slightly overconfident there on the Ember Spirit, but Not too big a deal. He's still sitting at 13-2, so he's going to bounce right back. It's just a matter of what DogChamp get for that. As you said, they were closer to that Aghanim Scepter. Meanwhile, up top, Mini, what did he just lasso? I'm not actually sure what he lassoed, but it sure as hell was not the target that he wanted. Now Yarn gets taken down. Heiko is on the hunt. RCY may get punished.
Well, the darndest thing there is that he did lasso the Bloodseeker, but it was so quick of an aphotic shield
Oh, are
that
you
it
serious?
just looked like he did nothing.
Just
Yeah.
instant. Didn't even
Well,
see
it
him
was
cast
also
it.
just the Mirana invis from the Abaddon, so they were none the wiser. I'm sure RCY was confused as well when there's just an invis Abaddon that comes up and just immediately ruins your lasso. But yeah, well, that play unfortunately ends up not being the biggest game changer for DogChamp, but Stonebank is still farming. He is about 900 gold away. Actually, oh no, has the Ags
Okay.
disassemble the Echo Saber for it. We'll see if he maybe wants to reassemble the Echo, or if this ends up becoming like an Orchid, or a Mage Slayer, which honestly has been an option that a lot of Slarks have been going for, because Mage Slayer is pretty nice, but that's where back mid, Iona Gangster. Not much you can do. DD Rune on the Ember as well. B9, you're next.
Gonna drop the tombstone down.
Maybe not.
Yaren with the stolen pulverize. Always looks kind of funny, but can actually find any kills here, because with RCY coming in as well, we could look to do some damage. The Slark has ambushed the Mirana to the south too, so they do take Hanes out, and
Need a little more time, and okay.
they've got the root, they've got the lockdown, they take Guts down again, and Stonebank got 2 of those 3 kills. Okay, DogChamp. Starting to get a little bit more threatening here. Still down by 6k net worth, but they have proven that they're capable of actually finding these pickoffs.
Yeah, and well, Stonebank turns that Oblivion Staff into a Mage Slayer that's now coming out on the Courier, so magic damage is going to be something that he can shrug off a little bit more, and yep, then queues up the Lincoln Sphere, so you're not really in too many dire straits right now, but that's where you look over at Minion and you're like, so when's that BKB going to be done? Oh,
Yeah.
pretty soon. You know, you're going to be able to team fight with us in just a sec, but that's where the Radiance build is a lot slower, is much slower than just getting the Maelstrom. Is a lot more evasion to play with, and of course, versus Slark evasion is quite nice, but that's where if this game does start to drag out a little bit, you know, we're going to start having some of those concerns, because we're getting in that back and forth territory where Stonebank is only 1,000 gold behind you. He's really on your heels.
There's a little bit of good news, though. That was the BKB finished off, like, it's that little while ago by Heiko. Already used the 9-second charge, but he has the magic immunity, he has the blink dagger, so Mini might not quite be there yet, but at least the heroes that would presumably initiate for him have the tools that they need to do so. But he's 500 gold away. You still just, you slow it down, you wait for him to finish it, right? Anything earlier than that's just greed for no reason.
Yeah, you do want to do that. You just want to make sure you're not even thinking about that in the back of your mind. But we'll have to see, because greedier things have happened. And the good news is we are not paused for any network issues. We're just paused for door, the classic. Hopefully, that's where a player drops out and you're like, okay, wait a second. We might be paused for more than door, but it should be pretty quick. And then we'll get our game back underway, and we'll have to see what actually ends up happening here. Because right now, we are in that territory, though, where DogChamp having Helm of the Overlord accomplished on Italiano Gangster, if they win a team fight or even get 1 or 2 pickoffs on that top side of the map, it's that immediate shift that can happen of a game where you get an Aegis in the Slark's hands, suddenly he cannot be ruptured, you have to find the like in every single team fight, and then we're in very murky territory for an actual team fight.
Oh. Italiano Gangster doing a little scouting with his creeps there as they just came out of their opponent's jungle. I'm not sure if they saw any of these heroes definitively, but I think if you're DogChamp, you can take a guess at where your opponents are. However, this is a full 5-man smoke out from the NoRunes side. They're going to try and get sneaky with it. The problem is, where could they go? If they make it all the way top, I guess they could get onto RCY. He's not leaving just yet, but I think at this point he is starting to suspect that something is up, but does he have enough time to actually leave?
No, and, well, 4-man smoke. They place the ward behind the tower as well, so they have to be quick, and that's where they would really just need the Primal Beast to blink Pulverize to then lead up into the arrow. Otherwise, RCY would be able to get out of pretty much anything, and, well, they do that, but the B9, and Stonebank actually blinks into the arrow, so he takes a good 500 damage there, but he's on the run.
Guts doesn't want to let him go, though, but there's going to be the ult coming out. Not really to turn, just to make sure he gets away, and I don't know. If you're DogChamp, I don't think you're too hurt with that. That was still a 5-man smoke into your jungle. You only lose your Undying, although Guts is
Sentry.
eyeballing it.
Oh.
Okay.
Circlet. It's been stolen.
Oh, and he destroys
no.
it. That's rude.
Nah, could be worse, but look at the Rupture. Doesn't have Shadow Dance right now. This would be huge. But Smoke Pop, oh, the daytime, the way that broke was absolutely terrible for Mini, and now they're just going to run away. Yaren might just have killed himself, but I feel like this is where Italiano, yeah, he does look to get away, and the cores do escape. Very
strange from Yaren there. I guess he just didn't have the vision seeing those other heroes coming, but yeah, he did not need to TP in there, and it's a bit unfortunate, but just like the B9 death, right? That's, what, 4 or 5 heroes who come knocking, and you give up a support while your cores continue to farm, so gonna be okay with it. Stonebank continuing progress towards the Lincolns. Of course, he has kind of fallen a little bit further behind compared to the Bloodseeker. We were talking about that gap only being 1k, and now it's a bit over 2, so Mini has sort of caught his rhythm again in terms of this farm, but they would like to force some sort of fight. Guts is kind of low on mana at this point, but they're going to try it anyway. They get the arrow onto B9. Bloody 9 already dead. Meanwhile, the Rupture was onto RCY, so he can't be involved in this fight. He's just going to look for the TP home. Does he make it out? No, he doesn't. Aiko's able to take him down. Now they turn their attention over to the Lycan. And that one goes about as poorly as it possibly could have.
Yeah, and now I would be very surprised if they don't just walk into the pit. It's just a little bit too close, I think. Hana is just looking for the arrow, and he's going to Solar Crest it. Not the fastest Rosh in the world, but it'll definitely happen, and there's no way DogChamp can do really anything about it. They're stuck farming, which, of course, never the worst case scenario, but never ideal either.
Well, just taking their time on this one, but there it is. Rosh goes down, Mini takes the Aegis, and NoRunes have a pretty solid advantage here. At this point, DogChamp, well, I don't know. What is the next sort of power spike for them? Is it just Stonebank's Lincolns, or are they looking at something else?
Yeah, I think Stonebank's Lincolns, and then maybe even looking at just the Silver Edge would be pretty sick. I think that's a great way for them to maybe make a turnaround play onto Mini, but there's so many items that kind of have to be accomplished, and you do have a tough decision, right? Because you can either make waves towards the Silver Edge, or you just look for a Basher to try and win man fights, but unless you get enough agi, you have pretty kind of slow attack speed right now. You're really only getting anything from the Mage Slayer, and okay, Guts, he doesn't have BKB, but okay, got the lasso. But then the Aphotic Shield, and now it's out.
They just shut that down almost immediately. While that happened, Mini was able to take the tier 1, or tier 2 rather, up in the top lane as well, so well, DogChamp don't really have too many plays right now. Outside of that lasso initiation, it's kind of weak in terms of their ability to actually force these fights.
Yeah, as Yaren, well, okay. Showed himself there. Arrows coming in.
Well, Yaren will fall. Sarem, yeah, he got his ult popped here, but they're just kind of going to ignore him, so he's not healing up. Maybe Italiano can catch up to him for a kill. That's still not even that easy. He's able to get himself back under the tower. Instead, they turn their attention onto Hane, but he's got a leap charge, so he could potentially get himself out of here too. And while all that's happening, look up top. They're going to make a play onto the Slark. Trample is still hitting even in his ult, but they don't quite have the damage to make that play happen. And now with RCY here, he's got his blink up in 1, but he doesn't want to push. While that happened, B9 unable to get himself away from that middle lane as he was eventually tracked down. So the DogChamp are just going to sort of fall back and try to regroup. They lose multiple heroes across the map, and NoRunes, can they push? Can they do anything off the back of this? Not really sure. Stonebank, okay. But with the Ags, he's able to get the second pounce onto Hane to make sure he can't even leap away, and they do get that kill.
Oh,
It just feels like they need more.
He's got 100 Agi right now on Slark, and that's no BKB on Guts, so he has to walk this one out. He's got no Remnant either.
They got the telekinesis.
Okay,
they got the
chains
steal.
again.
There's going to be the pounce. Look at Sarem. He's just doing everything he can, but it's not enough. Guts will fall, and Sarem doesn't have his... No, he does have his ult back up, but...
Oh, but he's just going to eat him. Oh, no, the Agi. Oh, the humanity.
Boy. Just taking so much away. The knockback is actually a knock forward from RCY, but the pounce is going to come back up, so they still connect. Stonebank finds the kill. I said they needed more, ET, and they sure as hell got it. Stonebank's starting to look a little dangerous.
Yeah, no, he's got his Lincoln Sphere finished up as well, and some of that Agi will start to wean off, but just didn't find a good moment, and they lost their Aegis top. Mini tried to do damage, but they didn't even touch the tier 3, and again, in the night, well, he's here. He's ready. He's gonna have to pop his ulti, but saving the BKBs. Gotta be careful. He might look for an exit now, but this is still a horrible
Well, the Rupture just got used on B9, though, so Stonebank can just go in.
Okay, and look, the Depth Shroud is Undying safe.
Oh my god.
And now Mini, you're dead.
That's incredible. Mini falls, Stonebank lives, B9 stands still and survives, tips his teammate after, and that was incredibly well played, and NoRunes, I think they got a little bit complacent there, ET. With the lead that they had, they were sort of drifting into that mode we always see from these teams where they get a little too used to, we win the fight if we just show up to the fight. That is not the case anymore.
No, they end up throwing really a lot of their agency in this game. Mini's first death looks terrible, and during all of that time, Italian and Gangster finished up an Aghanim Scepter, so there will be a wolf-bitten Slark running around at some point in this game, so more and more DogChamp have been able to pick up the tools here. Now look bottom, 20 seconds on your Bloodseeker. They know that this is a 4v5, and they're connecting. The only one that's not here is the Undying, but
the wolf bites in. Italiano Gangster's here. Stonebank is here. Two wolves just looking for kills. Sarem has his ult pot, but they got the lasso onto Heiko. Far more valuable kill. They're going to focus on him first. They do find that. They'll take Sarem down as well. Guts, I don't know if you want to be here. He's backing out. Oh my god, what is that? A leaping wolf. That looks goofy as hell, but he's not able to find the kill. He actually eats an arrow to the face, and yeah, this is a bit of an awkward spot. And that's why wolves don't leap.
Yeah. Oh, the throws. Oh, Stonebank. You would have gotten so much gold. Your Midas is off cooldown. What are you doing, man? But, hey, still, very nice punish from DogChamp up until Stonebank loses his life, but the rest of the lineup will be able to take over really the rest of the map here, but just finding Heiko again, just keeping back, trying to defend the tower, but really great punish. Mini didn't even get to use a Rupture in that fight with how quick it was over, but I have to see more from that, and no more feeds like that either from the Slark. That's your freebie. That's where, again, Roche not being up, the stakes of the game really do lower quite a bit when those immediate objectives can't be swung, and that's where, again, the last freebie. Next time that happens, that might be under some more dire straits, but has a third of a Scotty now picked up on the Slark as well, so again, he's picking up some very scary items.
Meanwhile, you look over at RCY, he's starting to close in on a Lincoln's of his own, so you're gonna sort of run out of heroes that you can actually target. His Guts is gonna lose Searing Chains. It's a nice tool for Yarn, but he's got to get close enough to actually take advantage of it, so we'll see if he ever gets that opportunity. In the meantime, though, look at this play from NoRunes. They're getting up into their opponent's side of the maps, and if there's going to be another fight, we're taking it on your side, which, yeah, fair enough, but are they going to be ready for this fight is the real question.
Yeah, and I like it. It's daytime. This is where the Slark really can't do too much. He's going to get some D-wards going, though. Of course, with the Shadow Dance, you know exactly where your opponent's vision is, but that's where, for NoRunes, just keeping this high ground is very important. They don't want to force themselves onto that low ground, but here's where the smoke comes in. The smoked Batrider as well. They would love to find that Ember Spirit, an Ember Spirit that still isn't even looking for a Lincoln Sphere just yet in this game, but Stonebank getting closer towards that high ground. He knows the cone, he knows the vision. Enemy smoking. B9. Oh, they're inching ever so close to each other here. But watch that lasso.
Guts is going to make the jump first. There's the BKB out from RCY. Heiko tries to come in with the Pulverize. And they are sort of splitting them up here. B9's already been taken down. Yarn is going to fall as well. But the cores look like they're getting out here. Italiano Gangster pops the shapeshift to run. They got a TP from RCY, and the Slark just kind of pounces himself out. So the cores stay safe, ET, but with the two supports dead, NoRunes are going to try and make a play onto this tower. Gotta wait. There we go. Just a second or two for the creep wave to show up, but they will take the objective.
Yep. And they gotta keep this ball
Instant
rolling.
Roche.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, but of course they have to go in immediately. They will scout it out though, because the arrow just flies, and they'll say, yeah, Roche is alive, and now DogChamp have to make the horrible decision. Do we go with 20 seconds on our Rubik? If we don't, well, the Roche is already gone. I'm not even sure if they expect or know that this is up, because again, early Roche timers, you don't bank on it, but it just works out in such a way that now NoRunes get that second Roche for free. So unfortunate for DogChamp. That's really going to stop a lot of that kind of comeback potential that they might have had in another Aegis for the Bloodseeker to play around with, but I guess they're still getting farm on their heroes. But yeah, it's unfortunate that just two support picks turns into that.
Got an Aegis up on the Bloodseeker. The Shard went over to Heiko. Guts just finished off his Aghanim Scepter, so well, Power Spike. Now for NoRunes, we'll see if they can really just bust this game open, which, considering they've got an 8k lead, it already kind of feels like it has busted open, but DogChamp were able to sort of cut into that lead once or twice already, so need to see more from NoRunes to really have them feel all that confident as the rock throw does not hit. Looks like it's time for everybody to just clear out of here. B9's going to TP out. They got the Lycan out earlier, and everyone's just going to buy some time here, and buying time for some important items. Again, we mentioned Destroyer, or RCY rather, closing in on the Lincolns. He's so close to it, but not quite there yet. In the meantime, I believe Stonebank finished his Scotty. Where's his courier at? There you are. Yes, indeed. That is the Scotty finished off in its entirety. It did cost him every last bit of gold he has, though, so there's no buyback on the Slark, but
Oh.
okay, Guts. I don't know about this, but he's got teammates coming in. They hit the arrow onto the Slark, so he is not doing any damage right now. They've already lost B9. This is starting to get a little bit awkward, but Italiano Gangster pushing in, trying to force all of those heroes back. Now he's going to get the Wolf Bite onto his teammate, but he does get a Rupture to the face in exchange. Guts, though, still trying to push in. He's going to get leashed up. Heiko charging forward with the Onslaught, creating a distraction. Italiano Gangster and Yarn both go down. There is going to be a lasso out finally onto someone, but they don't have the damage. Stonebank has to retreat. And this is starting to get very rough for DogChamp. They have to just try and fall back, but RCY, compared to Mini with the speed buff, he is not going to be able to get himself out. Rock Throw hits Yarn for the stun, but Heiko realizes, I'm in my opponent's base by myself. Maybe I should back out, and he does blink away.
Yeah, and every arrow from Hane's there just limiting so much damage that really Stonebank was hoping for. Even the neutral keeps working against them there with the Centaur Stomp coming through, just dragging the fight into the neutral camp. It's part of it. They're angry. They're upset. They're unhappy that you're here. So they, again, just limit what he's able to do because he gets stunned in the Shadow Dance. He gets stunned in his Depth Shroud. He doesn't end up the target of any of those spells. And with Blood Rage stolen, he is a good magnitude stronger, as well as Mini. Well, he's down here, but support is trailing behind, and they're going to at least pester him, get some stacks in the BKB. Arrow does whiff. Only has Depth Shroud now, though. And no TP.
Oh, Lincoln's popped. He's able to get further into the trees, but as you say, no TP for 20, so he's just got to chill. And did NoRunes scout that out? Well, they might have seen him there.
Arrow.
Yep, ping in.
Yep. He is fast.
Making a break for it. I don't think anyone's catching him. But speaking of catch, what's going on mid? Guts, he's just going to go right in. He spotted out Yarn. Yarn has to self-telekinesis to get himself away, but it works. He will survive. And while all that went down, the Slark... Actually, the Slark did not leave. He tried to go back in onto Heiko, but there's the rock throw. It's going to catch him out. Heiko is in on top of him. Stonebank has to retreat once again, but the arrow's going to cancel his TP. Oh, Stonebank just a little bit too greedy. He's still not dead yet, but he can't go anywhere. And they will lock him down. He does not have buyback. Very short of the amount of gold that he would need, so No runes, with the Aegis still in hand, may have just earned themselves a potential high ground push here, because 75 seconds on the sidelines, they could get through the tier 2 and keep pushing through bot.
No, and that's where they're not, again, not the fastest pushers, but with how much net worth they have and kind of just make it work here. High ground defense is still pretty scary, but I think they're going to go up until this Aegis does look like it's going to time out. There are 2 glyphs to get through, so the racks might not be under siege, but the tier 3 certainly is. And again, trying to make it a little bit obnoxious, but don't know if this defense is here. They're just trying to buy time at this point. They don't even want to kill him because they know that he will just come back even stronger, maybe even angrier. But oh, Rupture, Yaren. There's no guts to kill him here, but oh, they've used everything. Tomb down for a minute now. This is getting more and more difficult for DogChamp to take the follow-up fight.
Yeah. Another glyph does get refreshed, but oh, look at that. They got the Bat Rider to catch him out with the Pulverize. The Abyssal Blade stuns onto him as well, and they find the kill. RCY dead with no buyback, and now they're just too staggered. Even if the Slark is coming up in 15 seconds, what does that really help? Without the Bat, you can't do anything. As Mini got hit by a stolen Rupture, but hey, guess what? Aegis times out, heals him up entirely, and they don't really have to care. They're not going all the way in, though. Backing away before they've actually finished off that melee racks, but they did a lot of damage at this stage. It's just not quite a knockout blow as of yet.
Yeah, and they're respecting the Slark, also respecting that they got what they wanted. They defended that top tower with the Ember Spirit. He didn't have any return remnants because he was really just gunning for Italiano Gangster, trying to kill him with the chains. But because of that, it ends up being a little bit too hard to stick around. So even though this Bat Rider doesn't have buyback, it's still too hard to continue to punish your opponent's mistakes here. Even though they are sticking around just in case they get too close to that high ground and try to get greedy with the D ward. But here we go. Aegis is gone now. Have to be so careful with Mini. Again, he could go down pretty easily, but now you are level 25. You can afford to rupture 2 people because you've got 2 ruptures. It's where I think if you can get onto the Bat Rider and the Slark, you got a pretty big problem with Stolen Rupture again.
They hit Mini up, burning through a lot of his HP. Aphotic Shield does not last very long, and there's going to be the lasso. They pull him back in. Mini dropped down, taken out. Now they turn their attention onto Heiko. He's going to just BKB, try to get himself home. No bashes or anything of that nature, and the app actually just made it out as well. That's a bit of a interesting one. Hane, though, does he make it? Yes, he does, because there's still no cancel here, and well, they lose Mini, but he's the only one that they lose. They could have ended up with 2, 3 casualties there, and they should just count themselves fortunate that it's only the Bloodseeker.
No, definitely should. Still, more permanent Agi, and you do kill Mini really without any fight. He doesn't BKB, doesn't pop his Abyssal Blade. I think the Shadow Dancer and the Depth Shroud just a little bit too well placed from Stonebank, but that's where if Stonebank gets any amount of lockdown, it's that much scarier for him to play with. Oh, he's trying, but Moonlight Shadow.
Wow. And no detection there out of the Slark, so... Oh, able to get away. Meanwhile, Serem is exceptionally close to Italiano Gangster here, trying to just keep eyes on him in case their teammates want to go. He's going to pop the Shapeshift, though. In the meantime, another stolen Rupture out onto Guts. This time, though, Yarn will finally pay for it as he does get taken down, but Guts wants to go in even further. They got the Rock Toss in for the stun, so he really is looking to clean up here, trying to get B9. Will be able to finish him with the jump to the Remnant, and then jumps right back out.
Is there any way for Stomach to close the gap? No, but okay, maybe something onto the Abaddon, but they saw him Wraith Pact. Here we go. Another Wolf Bite.
Just gonna back off for now. Maybe not. Guts got the root onto 2. There's going to be the rock throw coming in, locking down Italiano. Heiko now comes in, and since he already used the Shapeshift, they know he still doesn't have any way to actually get himself out, so they just find the quick kill. They spotted a DD rune too. Yeah, Guts is going to grab that, bottles it up. Wonder if that's for him or for the Bloodseeker. Honestly, either one of them could take it and just do incredible stuff with it, but could pass that bottle off if he needs to.
Yeah. And I really do want to see, I think, Stonebeck to just get the Basher yesterday. And he's got it queued up, but now it's going to feel a little bit awkward to slot in. But without it, everybody's just walking away from him. He's not really able to hit people. There hasn't been a nice lasso landing either. Just hasn't been in the cards as, okay, mid, didn't get ruptured. Is able to walk that one out, but that Shadow Dance, 40 seconds. And again, a Tombstone that should just get mopped up here. It looks like NoRunes instead decided to go back. They do have to check Roche every minute on the minute now. Isn't that fast respawn? Of course, just an arrow to check it, so it's not the biggest commit in the world, but time. And everybody on DogChamp is able to just respawn. Don't have to worry about buybacks just yet here. And there is a BKB on Stonebank, so doesn't have to be scared of necessarily the arrows and the silences as much, but gotta see if this is really that game changer for him. About to be 25 as well, so those little fights that he takes with the Essence Shift is going to start mattering that much more.
I don't know
And
if
they
this
did
plays...
just see him invis.
Yeah. This might not work. They spotted the Bat Rider earlier, now they're going to go straight in onto B9. Stonebank, though, does jump into the fight. Where's his backup? He needs someone to help him out. Heiko is starting to get hit up pretty heavily, but the rest of the team's just getting entirely slaughtered on the backline. B9, Yarn, and Destroyer are all dead. Now they get the route in onto Italiano Gangster. And yeah, this is really just the Slark show. He's the only one capable of standing in the middle of all of this, and he's even being pushed back. B9 will die.
Ooh.
After the buyback, every other buyback that they have being expended. DogChamp just say, you know what, we gotta go. This is our only opportunity. We're gonna push or we're gonna lose. Let's see which one it is. They find one kill onto Hane. Go any further, though. This is getting into risky territory. I mean, I feel like they have to try, because if they don't, then all of those buybacks really weren't for much of anything. They've just cut down on their own manpower for the next fight.
And little did they know that these buybacks would actually end up not feeling too bad, because they have to do it to contest the Roche in the first place in 5 seconds.
True.
They'll scout it out, but that's also where Hanes can very simply buy back on that Mirana, and then he'll be back in the fight as well. It's about 20 seconds out from nighttime too, so we're going to be in Slark City in just a sec here as, oh no, the ward placed, but Sarem cliffed.
Okay, but here comes Guts. Look at the damage. He just takes down Yarn right away. Italiano Gangster's rooted up, which means once again, Stonebank is fighting alone, and it's not a fight that he can win. Stonebank will fall, dead for 98, no buyback available. Italiano Gangster hit up by the Rupture, so he's going to either run himself to death or get killed by Guts, as it will be the latter, and yeah. As you said, ET, they got a little fortunate, because those buybacks could have been the perfect tool to try and contest Roche, but then I don't know. I'm not sure where the initiation needed to be there, but flipping Sarem really was not the play that was going to force that fight. Instead, they just get pretty much wiped out, and their base is going to get pretty heavily hammered here as RCY is in some trouble. He's forced to activate his BKB. That's at least going to get him away for now, but they need to buy a lot of time for these other cores to be up.
Yeah, and realizing that Stonebank is dead for 50 seconds is a tough pill to swallow. But they are going to keep on holding onto their glyph. They know that if they use it, that is just going to be their opponents pushing on. But it's also where, unfortunately, if you're the Bat Rider, can't really show anymore. No BKB for 65. You're not team fight ready. I feel like you almost have to try and get somebody into the fountain at this stage with like an aggressive force staff and then just hoping you get him into... Owen, okay, Mini. Oh, does he have time to drag him, though? No, it doesn't look like it. Has to go after the silence, and no. A slight opportunity that presented itself there, but I think it's just not going to be enough. With the glyph force as well. This is just GG.
Yep, there it is. GG called as DogChamp will concede defeat. They walk away with the 1-1 split in the series, and NoRunes... Well, ET, it was not the triumphant play that they were hoping for, right? They had 4 games on the schedule today. This win is going to be the only one that they pick up, but you don't go 0 for 4. You do get a point, and that is potentially going to matter down the road, so at least there's some sort of silver lining.
Yeah, and, well, if you're DogChamp, well, that's your only loss you can afford in the next 6 games. So,
yeah,
DogChamp have to be perfect from here on out. But that's also where, well, let's say if you're Wolf Team, you're feeling pretty happy now. That's the result that you pretty much wanted from this match. Puts even less pressure on you. Both of your opponents just stay in their place beneath you. Neither of them are going to advance at all. I think, actually, they might be tied, but still tied with Wolf Team with many more series to be played. So they're feeling pretty happy about the results. But yeah, not the day for NoRunes, but you know, at least they got something. They don't leave today empty-handed.
Yeah, they walk away with a point, as we said, which, you know, does push you a little bit up those standings. Not as much as, you know, any other wins in their previous series would have done, but You just got to work with what you've got. It's a 1-1 split for the time being. So that is NoRunes done for the day at the end of this one. 1-3 record for them. And we are going to be moving ourselves along here from one team in NoRunes that was hoping for points today to another team in Felt who might still need them. Because they were able to get a win yesterday that puts them 3 points ahead of 5-man Midas, but with, I think, 3 series left for 5-man, they're not exactly safe on the Felt side, so they would love some points here, ET. The problem is they're going up against Ravens, who have only lost 2 games in total, so it's not going to be an easy matchup.
No, definitely won't be, but we'll have to see. Everybody's probably got their felt hats on, you know, seeing maybe the boys can do it, but I don't know. It will definitely be a David and Goliath situation.
We are going to be moving into that last series in just a little bit. Before we do, though, it is time to let you know once again about our Pro Series 12 giveaway. We are giving away a HyperX Armada 25 FHD gaming monitor, along with a Beyond the Summit branded t-shirt and a hoodie. So if you want to take your chance at winning that prize, you can go to the address on your screen right there at the top, bts.gg/Pro Series giveaway. You have until basically the end of Pro Series to get your entry in. We'll draw a winner on October the 8th, I think it is, and then we'll contact whoever that winner is. So go to bts.gg/Pro Series giveaway. You can enter for free and maybe win yourself some cool BTS merch along with that fancy as hell HyperX monitor. So yeah, check that out. Still have some time left here, but don't wait too long because you don't want to miss a chance. And again, it is free to enter, so literally no reason not to, other than you just hate free stuff. So that'll do it for the giveaway. We're going to be moving again into that Felt versus Ravens series in just a little bit here, so stick around, and we will be right back.